On episode 215 of the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast, I discuss DOMS, Delayed Onset Muscle Soreness. You can find the full show notes for this episode at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/215. Have you decided you're ready to make a change? To reclaim your health and fitness? The 40 Plus Fitness Podcast is here for you. I'm your host, Alan Meisner. I'm an NSAM certified personal trainer with a specialization in corrective exercise and fitness nutrition. Let me be your coach as you find your way on your health and fitness journey. All right, let's go. We're getting to that time of the year when the resolutionists start to really tail off and go away. You know, they came in with all the good grand plans of getting healthy, losing weight, and getting fit. Worked out for a little while, did a few things, and then sort of just fell off. And I hope that isn't you. But if you did have a weight loss resolution and you just didn't quite make it, I do want you to check out Surefire Results for Weight Loss. It's a program I developed, very simple, 3 lifestyle changes. You make those 3 lifestyle changes, and they're very simple lifestyle changes to make. In fact, most of my clients that have gone through it have been amazed with what they've been able to do with just these simple little changes. And you'll have me along with you each and every day to keep you on course, keep you going. It's a 28-day program. $1 a day is worth it. Make the investment in your health. Lose the weight. Guaranteed. You can find it at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/surefire. That's 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/surefire. A lot of new trainees, and sometimes even some experienced trainees, will come to me and say, hey, I'm in a lot of pain from that last workout. And we have a discussion about whether the pain is in the muscle or the pain is in the joint. And we talk about a couple other things about how they moved and when they noticed the pain. And most of the time when I hear about this pain, it's something that's spurred up about a day later, and they're very, very sore and very, very stiff and struggling to move around. That, my friend, is called delayed onset muscle soreness. And most people that have done some exercise that was a little beyond their capacity really kind of push themselves a little bit, particularly in the resistance exercise where they're trying to get some mass or strength, will experience this episode. And it's called delayed onset muscle soreness, or in short, I'll call it DOMS. And it is a physical reaction to the work that you did. It's a fairly normal reaction. In fact, most of us at some point in our lives, like I said, have had DOMS of some sort. So what is it? Well, the science is actually still out on exactly what DOMS is. For a long, long time, the conventional wisdom was that it was a lactic acid buildup in the muscle. And that kind of correlated with the fact that it just seems to burn a little bit in addition to the pain. I am not sure that that's the case. Now, current science is kind of leaning towards the fact that when we do exercise, a resistance style exercise particularly, we do little micro tears in the muscle. Now, these micro tears are important because that's actually what's going to then cause the muscles to get stronger as they're repaired. But because our autonervous system has realized that we've kind of overdone it a little bit, we've been a little overzealous in our work, it wants to send us a signal that we need a couple days of rest. And that's kind of where this all comes in, is to say, hey, you've overdone it. Maybe a day of rest or two wouldn't be a bad idea. So these little micro tears are what could be causing that pain. I'm not going to say it's one or the other, but generally, I can say a few things about DOMS. And in particular, in this episode, I kind of want to get into what you can do about DOMS when you're experiencing it, and things you can do before you might experience DOMS so you can prevent it. And that doesn't mean no, don't exercise. That's not going to be one of the things I say. So don't expect that to be the answer. Okay, so we now kind of know DOMS is one of these things where we're having this physical reaction to the work. What are some things that we can do that would help us when we're now in this situation? Because that's typically where we are. We're not in a situation to prevent it at the first. We now are experiencing it. So what are some things we can do? So typically, this is going to kick in anywhere from 24 up to 72 hours after we've done the exercise. You're going to notice that you're very, very sore. I was, in one of my zealous states when I was trying to get in shape early on, and I bought the Insanity series from Beachbody. You know, it looks really good. It's body weight exercises. You know, the group that's doing the exercises looks really awesome. And I'm like, okay, well, that'll get me back in the shape I want to be in, the way I want to look and feel. And there's no equipment, so I can take this on the road with me, which, so that's a win-win-win, right? Well, I go in the first day and I want to do the fitness test. And of course, I'm a little competitive with myself, and sometimes the ego gets a little stupid. I'll admit that. So I pushed myself through the test, thinking, okay, this is just the fitness test. This isn't even a workout. So let's just see what I can do here. Push myself. The next morning, I was so sore I couldn't even get out of bed. Literally had to call in sick because I couldn't even move. So obviously, I'll tell you some things that we can do to prevent this from happening. Don't go out and just automatically do an insanity workout just because you think you can. But now that you're sore, there's a propensity in your body to say, just lay very, very still, because when you're laying very, very still, it doesn't hurt nearly as bad. And I'm going to tell you that's the exact opposite of what you should be doing. When you have DOMS, when you're experiencing DOMS, you need to get into a mode of active rest. You need to make sure that those muscles are generally moving through the full range of motion throughout the day. Obviously, you're going to go to sleep, you're going to wake up pretty sore in the morning, but when you're able to, you should be up and about, moving, stretching those muscles, kind of getting them moving, get the blood flow through them so that it can kind of give it the nutrients that it needs to rebuild the muscles. And in the case of where it is some toxins and things that need to be flushed out, you have the flow going through those muscles to actually allow that to happen as well. So active rest, moving around, moving that muscle group particularly, is going to be very, very important for you during the days when you're experiencing DOMS. Now, beyond that, other things that you can do is you can make sure that you're drinking plenty of water. Water is going to give you kind of the fluids and make sure you have enough fluids in your body to transport the nutrients and to flush out any impurities along the way. So again, making sure that you're getting a good adequate amount of hydration and water is going to help. And making sure that you keep your electrolytes in line. So salt, potassium, magnesium, zinc, all of those are important elements in building your muscles and maintaining a healthy body. So making sure that you're keeping those intact as well. And then, of course, because you're doing resistance exercise, making sure that you're getting adequate protein. And I say adequate, and I mean that adequate, not too much. You don't need extra protein. We're not bulking up here. We're just trying to add a little bit of muscle and get a little bit stronger. So just finding that right pick of getting some protein in your body so you have all the things that you need for your muscles to rebuild. Now, this DOMS is going to last up to about 72 hours. I've had some cases of DOMS when I was really kind of into bodybuilding that would last me as long as a week, and that'll happen. Now, as long as you've rested at least 48 hours between your last exercise session, you may still be a little bit sore, but you're still capable of doing the work. And so I would encourage you, even if you're having DOMS, that's not an excuse to not go back in the gym on your scheduled work. You may tone down the next workout slightly, but there's no need for you to skip the workout as long as you've had the adequate rest, which I think for most of us, 48 hours to 72 hours is going to be plenty of rest between exercise sessions. So it's time for us to get back in the gym, warm up, and do the work. Again, you might want to tone down that next workout because your body has told you you've pushing it, buddy. It's time to slow down a little bit. But you don't let your body push you out of doing the work. You are ready and you are capable. If you've given yourself at least 48 to 72 hours of rest, you're ready to go, and it's time for you to get in the gym. So let's just say you haven't experienced DOMS or you don't want to experience DOMS. Then what can we do? Well, the first thing to say is everything needs to be done in moderation, meaning when you're going to go in to do a new workout routine, don't be so big into your ego. Put the weights down, get your muscles used to moving in the ranges that you're moving them, moving the weight that you're going to move, and then slowly increase the weight and the intensity of the work. That slower progression is going to minimize the likelihood that you do suffer from DOMS. So going in and having a plan, I've talked about having a focus, having a plan when you go in there. If you have a good plan in play, you're going to see results without really kind of pushing yourself to that point where you're suffering from DOMS practically every time you go in the gym. In fact, most people who work out shouldn't experience DOMS on a regular basis. If you want to be really intense, you want to be one of those kind of, like the bodybuilders, like the really intense athletes, then by all means, push yourself to that extreme. Each time you go in the gym, have that intensity, you'll see tremendous muscle growth, but you're going to have to put up with DOMS. And then, the no pain, no gain is kind of a mantra for that very reason of the athletes that want to put on significant strength or significant muscle, often pushing themselves to a point where they're almost constantly in a state of DOMS with one body part or another. So if you want to push yourself to that extreme, I'm not going to hold you back from that because that's your goal. Just recognize there are smart ways to get improvements in your fitness and physique without having to push yourself through DOMS each and every single time you work out. Expect to experience it every once in a while, particularly if you've changed, like if you're doing a periodization and going from one workout style to another, or you're changing an exercise or changing the weights and reps. It's possible that you may initiate yourself into a state of DOMS. And if that's the case, again, realize that's just your body telling you that was the edge. Thank you very much. You didn't break me, but I'm going to let you hurt for a couple of days to just kind of remind you that you didn't have to do that. But you know in your mind, you know in your heart that you did have to do that. You had a reason to do that. You pushed yourself in that workout, and you should be proud. Like I said, most bodybuilders, it's a mark of pride. If they're a little sore the day after a workout or 2 days after a workout, they feel like they've now done something. But you don't have to push to that point. It's good every once in a while if it does happen. So don't think it's a bad thing. DOMS is not a bad thing, and I won't say it's necessarily a good thing. It's just a thing. It's something that when we're going to do resistance exercise, we do have to deal with, and it is what it is. So you can take it with a mark of pride that you've done something good for yourself, and then you can do the right things to take care of yourself, which I'll recap here. You want to do active rest. You want to make sure that you're getting plenty of fluids. You want to make sure that you're getting plenty of your electrolytes. That's the potassium, sodium, zinc, and magnesium. You may have to supplement with those to make sure that you're getting enough, but just make sure that you are getting enough. And then finally, make sure you're getting adequate amount of protein. Not too much protein, but an adequate amount. And then, give yourself the body the appropriate level of rest, the 48 hours to 72 hours, depending on what your current fitness level is, and then go in and have another good workout. So now if you're a little intrigued and are wanting to start a strength program and really are a beginner and haven't done this before, I've developed a little program I'm giving away for free. It's called Getting Started on Strength. And if you're interested in building a little foundation of strength, getting started in this getting stronger thing and building the foundation so you can avoid having DOMS the first time you work out, because this program is mild. It's developed in a way to do full body strength, and I think it's a pretty good program to just really get you going, get you that good foundation, and it does it in a responsible, progressive way. You can go to 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/strong, and you'll get it for free. I want to give this course to you. I want to help you build a foundation of strength. If you're just a beginner, this is going to be a perfect course for you to get started. So go to 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/strong. Next time on the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast, I'm going to answer a listener's question about how to become a certified personal trainer. Until then, have a happy and healthy day.